Hi, I'm Leon, and this is Leon's Auto Garage. Now, I got here my new to me BMW 328i. It's the E90 generation. This one has to be the 2011 one. Yeah, this happens to be the 2011 model year. This is the last model year of the E90, so it's the latest and greatest BMW can make. But I wanted to make a post-purchase inspection on this car because I did test drive it. Drove pretty good. I did look around a little bit just to make sure anything I could see was okay. But now let's dig into it a little bit because you see any issues that's going on with it. Also do want to let you guys know that I did do repair for the starter. I couldn't film that because I had to get it going real quick so I could get to work. And yes, the Silverado's still down. Still got that misfire I gotta work on. So that's why I got this car, among the fact that the Jetta had a huge oil leak. I might throw some pictures in here so you guys can see it, but it was pretty bad. So oil leak caused issues in the Jetta. It messed up one of the coolant hoses, so had to fix that. I think that, along with something to do with the axle bolts, for some reason they were backing out, that like broke part of the transmission, so had to fix that. It'll cost probably $4,000 for a shop to get a used transmission, throw it in there, fix the oil leak. Yeah, then it still had like the AC needed to be fixed, and one of the front struts was leaking, so I need to replace that. So that's unfortunate events that led me to getting this. But I did want to also do the oil filter. I did buy one earlier, but it happened to be the wrong size, so I got one right here. It just happens to be CarQuest. Got a filter along with a seal and a cap, along with a new copper washer. So let's also get that replaced. Now I don't have the fancy, 36 millimeter. I think this is like 12-point wrench, but I do got this little oil filter wrench, and this does happen to work pretty good. So I'm just gonna slip this on so I can take it off. So let me also get the drain pan. Actually, drain pan really ain't gonna do much because these E90s, they got the plastic underbody panels. Ooh, but what I can do is get some rags real quick. I didn't drive the 328 too far, so the oil shouldn't be too hot. Okay, I was getting a little worried for a second. I did see a few BMW YouTubers talk about how sometimes this plastic piece can actually get thrown away by inexperienced lube techs. Won't stay, but let's just get this old O-ring off. Let's get the fresh new one. Already changed the oil, so this is fresh oil right in here. All right, now let's just get this fitted. Over the cap and just get it right in this groove. Just like so. Now let's also get this other O-ring out too. I go with the small O-ring. Let's see if this pick will help stretch it out. Yep. There we go. There we go. It's not the same size. So I'm gonna go with the more expensive filter next time. Let's change this out. With the copper washer, this must be for the oil drain plug. But I don't know what this other cap is for, unless for the slightly different style of these oil caps. But let's just click that into place. And just get it nice and seated and tighten this up. Alright, this is just what I have right now. Is I just got some Pennzoil high mileage 5W30 and some full synthetic 5W30. This one's, the high mileage is pretty much full, and the full synthetic's only about 2.5 quarts. See, I got about the 7.5 quarts needed. But this is the first time I'm popping the cap on this oil fill, because I haven't changed the oil yet. Let's see, get that focus for you guys. And yeah, it's looking a little varnishy, a little dirty in there. Not ideal, especially for the low mileage, because previous owners might have did oil changes, you know, every. Alright, I'm gonna put in the full synthetic first. Make sure we get all the synthetic goodness in here that we got on hand. Well, let's move this out of the way so you can see the nice C-roll pour. I wish I had my filters on me, but that's just one thing I forgot. And that's the price you pay when you work on cars and live in an apartment. You gotta have a storage unit or a shop, or else you just moving tools from the apartment to the car. And honestly, it's just taking up too much time now just to get set up. Yeah, really should have had a funnel. Dang it. Since these vehicles have no dipstick, I actually needed to run the vehicle for a little while and then use the computer to check the oil level. So that's unfortunate, but what I'll also do is just put on the undercover tray and then check the oil level. Annoyingly, someone tightened these lug bolts way too tight. I feel like I'm about to break something. So I got my trusty little expansion. Well, let me see if I could get a good view of it. Thank you. Turn the wheel a little bit. This is outrageously tight. Yeah, let's turn on this wheel some more. Now I'll be able to take the lug bolts off like I should be able to. Nice and easy with the torque wrench. At first glance, I thought these were new brakes because they all look nice and pretty and shiny. And the rotors look good, but when I take a closer look, I see corrosion underneath the paint. So that really showed me that these aren't new brakes or rotors, but these are just painted over because of the, especially because of the paint that's on this side of the brakes. So you know, your typical cheaper or low cost dealerships are gonna do. Especially then you can see there's a little bit of paint on this dust shield right here. But the pad life looks pretty solid. Maybe it's 50%. It don't look too bad. So brake upgrade could definitely hold off for maybe a year or so. So I'm pretty sure I'll be all right with these brakes. These brake calipers. Flashing this could wait for the brakes. But there's a rubber hose right here. This is pretty hard because, you know, it's probably the original brake hose. So I should actually order those and replace these while I do the brake fluid change. So that'll come later. Yep, and let's continue on with this post-purchase inspection. There's a little bit of rust on this hardware up here. Not too bad. You know, it's not too much rust on this vehicle. Let's see, in the subframe. Looks pretty good. Actually, I didn't get too much of a good look. Can't tell about that control arm. But I do want to make an upgrade for these control arms later on. Let's see about this strut assembly. This is the passenger side. I think it's the driver's side that's leaking. Let's go see. Be it for this driver strut right here. You know, hopefully the audio is still good. You can see there's some oil on the strut right here too. And on this side. So yeah, you could definitely say this strut needs to be replaced. And it's only good to replace them in pairs. So you definitely want to buy once, cry once. So I'm gonna throw coilovers on it instead of doing Bilstein or Coney Yellows or Bilstein Sports, and then come back and do springs. Because I only want to drop it a little bit, so that's also going to be interesting on how I can get coilovers, or maybe a certain set of coilovers that doesn't drop it that much. Because I only want to drop it about half an inch at the most. Because driving in Atlanta Metro, there are a lot of hills and, you know, potholes and speed bumps. I really don't want to lower this car very much. Let's do a nice little just switcheroo, just front to back. Now I'm definitely going to convert into lug nuts, just lugs or studs and lug nuts, because these lug bolts I do not like. Plus, when you talk about throwing on wider wheels for performance and for good handling, especially for like autocross and stuff, track days. These lug bolts just aren't long enough. So let's get these started. And of course, I like to keep track of tire rotations by doing it every time I change the oil. So it's usually every 5 or so thousand miles. So when you don't got the free tire rotations at the tire shop for that one deal when you buy their tires, you just say, oh, change the oil, rotate tires, and we still good. Yep, shout out to CGA. This is a different genre, but that's where that saying comes from. All right, I'll turn the torque down to a reasonable amount, so then I could torque it at 89 foot-pounds. With the torque wrench whenever I get the car back level on the ground. All right, I'll come back when I get the other side rotated.